delivering Louisiana's future. At the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Oh, yeah. Yes, 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 and yes. You're not on Broadway. You're in New Orleans. A beautiful, gorgeous Thursday afternoon. That's right, number 9. Thank you, Mr. Drew Brees, for the intro. It is indeed New Orleans. 3 days out. Super Bowl 59, 5:30 kickoff from the Dome. And things are really starting to roll now. I was down in the French Quarter last night, checking out the incredible light display on Jackson Square, the Cabildo, the Presbytere. Anyone who's complaining about that, it's going on deaf ears. There were families down there. It was incredible. Jackson Square was a lot of moms, dads, and kids last night, checking out the light show, kind of the last night, like me going down there with my mom, 94 years old, checking out the light show. We all know, as native New Orleanians, Wednesday night was kind of the last night for locals in the French Quarter, in the CBD, in the Warehouse District. Anywhere in and around the Superdome, the Quarter, the Marigny, the Riverfront, it's sort of locals avoid the area because lots and lots of Kansas City fans, lots and lots of Eagles fans, 7,000 credentialed media, lots of folks in general beelining to the Crescent City as we speak. You're one of those folks? Just landing, jumping in a cab, taxi, Uber, in the rental car, driving in, checking us out on the hotel TV. Welcome to New Orleans. Welcome to the Crescent City. And don't get caught going to anything that you suspect isn't 100% pure local. Don't go to the tourist spots. Now, I'm not saying don't go to the French Quarter, don't take a walk down Bourbon Street, but don't spend time on Bourbon Street. That's a waste of time. Every minute you're on Bourbon Street, no offense to Bourbon Street or offense to Bourbon Street, you're missing Frenchman Street right around the block, Royal Street, any other part of the French Quarter, any other part of the French Quarter. You're missing other parts of the city, though. I mentioned Frenchmen over in the Marigny Triangle, St. Claude, Oak Street in Uptown Riverbend, Carrollton neighborhood, Uptown in general. So many great bars, music clubs, restaurants, Garden District, Mid-City. So many great spots in Metro New Orleans where you should be going and don't get caught at the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company type places. I don't know. I think some folks want to get lured into that stuff. No, talk to folks, talk to locals. Get on social media and try to find the lists where the criticisms are at a minimum. No, the NFL and the city of New Orleans released a list. I think the NFL solicited the city for the list, and it's just an awful list. It's terrible. Channel 4 Television has a pretty darn good list. You just go to their website and put in on the little search bar. I think they called it Gems, New Orleans Gems for the Super Bowl. The Times-Picayune, NOLA.com, the local paper. They've got a pretty good list right now. Even have different neighborhoods and where to go. No list is complete, but at least these are legitimate. And that NFL city of New Orleans one, throw that in the garbage. Maybe 10, 12 out of the 75 or 80 places listed are legit, literally 10 or 12. Embarrassing. Now, welcome to the Crescent City, one of the most interesting places on earth, a European masterpiece. You know, if you're thinking Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, Nashville, Charlotte, Austin, you know, Phoenix, Denver, Seattle, those types of places, booming economy, lots of cul-de-sac neighborhoods, a lot of expansive growth, sort of generic anywhere USA neighborhoods popping up all over. New Orleans is the opposite. We don't have a booming economy and a gazillion young college graduates flocking here. But we do have some growth, and we have distinct neighborhoods. Many, many, many distinct neighborhoods with a culture and a way of life all their own. Explore the different New Orleans neighborhoods, check out the great New Orleans restaurants, check out some great music, great bars, great shopping, Canal Place, Rubenstein's, Adler's. I can go on and on. No, a fantastic city, world-class city. And we've got some world-class weather that's been going on all week, and it's going to continue through the Super Bowl. Waking up to the 60s, overnight in the 60s, and then peaking out like around right now, 71, 72, 73 degrees. Just really tough to beat the weather in New Orleans right now. Wow, I'm a little off. Officially checking out the weather, 74 degrees. Tomorrow, 63 when we wake up, a high of 75. Saturday, 64, high of 77. Sunday, 63, high of 75. Monday, when you're beelining out of Dodge, 63, high of 72. Then we might get some rain for us locals on Tuesday. Fantastic weather. I tweeted it earlier today. Philly fans already in town. KC fans already in town. You can go lay out by the pool hotel today. Take a break and go lay out by the hotel pool. Just wonderful weather we're having in New Orleans. And such a great compact city, easy to get around. You can do most of it, you know, walking. French Quarter, CBD, Convention Center, Superdome. It's all about a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles tops. Just all in a little tight little condensed area, coupled with 28,000 hotel rooms. Boy, a lot to discuss on the program on a Thursday. New Orleans Walk of Fame. More folks, I guess the rest of the folks getting their placards today. Great idea. I love the artwork, the fleur-de-lis. I love the local artists' work. I love the idea of putting these, you know, it's supposed to be native New Orleanians. I think they threw out the native part, kind of top 50 most influential New Orleanians in history. The problem is, no offense to Master P, he's like the chairman of this. He should probably be just like a board guy with a dozen folks like me, Master P, and then somebody that's chairing it that has done this type of thing before, at least managing, running it, being fair and objective, not getting lured into agenda-driven crap. Master P doesn't know if it's agenda-driven or not. He's honored that the mayor selected him, and him and the mayor sit around and pick these folks, and they come up with 50 where 25 or 30 legit, the other 20 not legit at all. Some of them shouldn't even be on the list at all, ever. When they do 100, 150, 200, 250, keep going, never should be on the list. Like Mayor LaToya Cantrell putting herself on the list, just obnoxious. And Master P putting himself on the list. Hey, Mayor, I'm going to do this list. I mean, I'm doing the list and I'm Master P. I do the list and I'm Archie Manning. I say, I'm not putting myself on the first 50, okay? Like, I'll get this thing started. Some other person will take over, and then you can put me on it if you want. We have to send out a message that we're being fair and objective, and it is a true list that honors New Orleans. That is a respected list, and it's not. It's sad. It's sad. Great idea. I love the idea. I'll give the mayor credit, Master P credit. Great idea. Great artwork. Poorly executed. Needs a lot of help. Hey, speaking of Archie Manning, Children's Hospital on Henry Clay in Uptown for decades, 50 plus years Uptown. Now the Manning Family Children's Hospital. The Manning Family Children's Hospital. Greenway fans, you got to be fired up. Tulane announces, I guess not announced, there are plans that have leaked or are now known, plans to build a covered practice facility on campus, that Claiborne Avenue lot, that parking lot on Claiborne, the old Rosenhall dorm that was there. That's the site. They want to get with neighbors on Audubon Boulevard and in the neighborhood and make sure Calhoun, everybody's cool with it. They better be. It's Tulane's campus. You know, you live by the airport. Don't complain planes are flying over. Don't complain Tulane wants to build a building on campus. Corey Johnson with you on a Thursday afternoon. Hey, you folks in from out of town, you want a New Orleans place to go? Katie's in Mid-City. A true taste of New Orleans as it gets. Old school New Orleans and big portions, New Orleans specialties. Great for sharing. Might have soft shell crab, flounder, pompano. You never know. Speckled trout. Katie's. Iberville, corner Tallamoccas in the heart of Mid-City. Head to Katie's right now.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Since 1896, a true taste of New Orleans. Leidenheimer French bread.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Thursday, 3 days out from Super Bowl 59 at the Superdome. Can I get a yeah, you right out of you? Fired up here in the Crescent City, $750, $800 million plus economic impact expected. And today is really the Super Bowl week started Sunday, whatever, Monday. But today's Thursday, 3 days out. This is where it really ramps up. This is where Louis Armstrong is just packed to the gills, where flights are just coming in nonstop, where you're getting flights coming in from Philly and KC and surrounding areas that normally are not part of the schedule at Louis Armstrong. Extra flights, nonstop flights booked into Louis Armstrong. And Lakefront Airport, the private jets are starting to arrive, and that's going to ramp up big time tomorrow and especially on Saturday. There'll even be a lot of private jets showing up on Sunday. That's what the wealthy can do, fly in on the day of the game and fly out the night after at midnight. Lakefront Airport expecting 500 plus G5 and larger jets. I want to drive out there on Sunday, get up on that Seabrook Bridge, get up on that bridge that connects Hain Boulevard to the airport. And I'm going to snap some photos, maybe shoot a little video of just all those high-end jets and all the logos on those planes parked on probably one of the runways and the entire infield at Lakefront Airport. It'll probably be a sight we'll never see again until another Super Bowl down the road. Like 500 plus G5 or larger jets coming into the city. Got to give Jeff Landry credit. Like him, you love this. You don't like him, you have to accept it as basically fact, not opinion. The Whale Lot by the Hilton Hotel. They have just this first-class tent set up where when you enter the tent, you think you're in a permanent structure. And some folks are like, why didn't you do it inside of a building? Because you're setting up what's inside the building, inside the tent. It doesn't really matter. It's taking advantage of that space, which is a primo spot right at the foot of Poydras, right at the river. The Whale Lot, that parking lot by the Hilton. Huge tent, climate controlled, obviously, with New Orleans and Louisiana on display for CEOs, corporate executive types, wealthy folks, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000, decision makers. They're in that tent, and they're getting one-on-one with someone who can sell New Orleans and Louisiana. So give Jeff Landry credit for getting that done. What is it, the Magnificent Seven, like Google or Beta and Microsoft, all these, Meta, I should say Beta, Meta, all these different, Fortune 10 companies, these tech companies, is it the Magnificent Seven? They're all scheduled to come on in, decision makers in front of people in Louisiana. So this is something I've been talking about a long time. I've talked with Michael Hecht every, Friday from Greater New Orleans Inc. I'm on that. He asked me to be part of that committee, like pinpointing things in New Orleans that need to be upgraded for the Super Bowl, kind of helping to put that punch list together. No, one thing I was saying was, Michael, this is an opportunity. We got to get in front of these, CEO decision maker types. I say we, the city of New Orleans, Greater New Orleans Inc., Jeff Landry and his crew. This is a time to think about economic opportunity. They're on our turf, these decision makers, these Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 CEOs, these not rich folks, wealthy folks, these folks worth hundreds of millions, billionaire types. They're here from around the region, around the country, around the world Let's take advantage of this. And if we do it right, we should be able to land hundreds of jobs, if not a few thousand jobs, if we're fortunate. Like some major manufacturing facility, ideally, but definitely, hey, give us 50 jobs for downtown New Orleans. You got 30,000 workers at Microsoft in Seattle. Send out a memo. You want to move to New Orleans? I'm sure you'll have some bite on that. And what do you lose in Seattle? Nothing. A couple of more cars off the interstate, clearing up some traffic a little. You don't miss a beat. Doesn't affect the economy one bit. But 20 jobs here, 30 jobs there, 50 jobs there, 25 jobs here, 15 there, 35 there, all white collar, $100,000 a year on up downtown New Orleans gigs. That's something that's really needed, especially like in the tech sector. So that tent's going to move the needle. And you got to give Jeff Landry credit for that. Huge. Super Bowl 59, 3 days away. Hey, coming up in the 5 o'clock powwow, around 5:20, less than an hour away, Gaston Corbin's going to join us, director of the Sewage and Water Board, who will be leaving in May, in about the next 90 days or so, putting in his resignation after, it'll be about 7 years total. And anyone who's been paying attention, he has made some major strides with this totally dysfunctional, broken facility. Look, I don't give Mayor LaToya Cantrell much credit at all. I was just dogging her about this New Orleans Walk of Fame, dogging her about the where to go in New Orleans list for the Super Bowl with these agendas. Just pathetic. No, she'll probably be indicted, probably heading to jail. Not a good mayor. Just very self-destructive, narcissistic. Junket Cantrell, where's the next trip? So we know I rip her all the time, and she deserves it. She deserves it. If anything, I'm pretty damn fair and objective about it. Somebody with an agenda would be double bashing her, but she deserves everything she gets. I got to give her credit for Gaston Corbin running the Sewage and Water Board. She could have pulled a Mitch Landrieu. And Mitch Landrieu, such a better mayor than LaToya Cantrell. And Mitch Landrieu didn't move the needle all that much for New Orleans. But you got the airport, you got some things done. Wasn't setting up friends and family, not setting up himself, not going on junkets every month. But he's political. And Mitch put one of these appointed, anointed political hacks to run the Sewage and Water Board, Cedric Grant, who knows nothing about the Sewage and Water Board. I've said this before, and I mean it, and I'm not joking in the least bit. Cedric Grant can pick the individual. They can come up with the test questions on Sewage and Water Board and knowledge on the Sewage and Water Board, the system and how it's run. I promise you I would score higher on that test than Cedric Grant, who used to run the Sewage and Water Board, because he knows nothing about anything. I'm riding my bike on the Lafitte Greenway 10 years ago, and there's a plaque from 1991, the Mark Morial administration. Cedric Grant's on that plaque, something that has nothing to do with the Sewage and Water Board, some totally different city entities on it. That's what he's done his entire career. He pulls $180,000 a year in retirement. Think about that. How sickening is that? A lot of you folks accept that crap. I don't. I talk about it all the time. These political hacks, these jokers that haven't done anything in retirement, $180,000 a year. No, somehow that guy sleeps at night because he doesn't have a conscience. He doesn't give a crap. He threw that out decades ago when he was on this little rampage through city government and taxpayer finance checks. So I give the mayor credit for going around the country and seeking out an individual who actually has experience with water in a municipality. And Gaston Corbin was in Milwaukee for decades doing that, like a professional, a pro. It's what he does. He's apolitical. No one could tell me if he's a Republican or a Democrat. He's just a public servant and a civic-minded guy, and he's honest as far as I can tell. And a couple of things, the power plant at the Sewage and Water Board, the smart meters, tens of thousands of those have been installed. and a lot of sewage and water board construction, wrestling away the cleaning of the catch basins from the city. He was all instrumental in this. So the sewage and water board is broken. It's dysfunctional. It continues to be that way. It's got a long way to go. But from where it was 6 years ago to where it is today is dramatic positive change. And we all should be grateful to Ghassan Corbin because he's a mover and shaker. And we were lucky to have him for 6 years. And I don't know how, but the mayor somehow figured out this is the guy to hire, and he kind of had autonomy, and there wasn't a lot of politicians were trying to be involved 24/7, 365, but he kind of had a shield up and avoided the politics. No, he's going to be missed. Hopefully the national search finds another super qualified person with an actual resume. We cannot afford to go back to the Cedric Grants of the world, these anointed, appointed political hacks running such an important city entity like the Sewage and Water Board. Thursday afternoon edition of the program. Hey, I mentioned Michael at Greater New Orleans Inc. He'll join us tomorrow, Fantasy Friday edition of the program, where we'll be 2 days out from Super Bowl 59. That segment, by the way, every Friday with Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc., brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant. About 1,400 jobs right now in Elmwood, and they're looking for you. They're hiring more people. About 200 on the North Shore, their I-12 facility, and they're hiring, looking for more people. Yeah, it's a culture of innovation at Latrim. East Bankers, West Bankers, North Shore folks. Latrim has a job for you. Latrim has a career for you. Many Latrim employees have been there for decades and decades. Go to their website for a full listing of positions available. And it's not like 2 or 3 job openings. Dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of jobs available at Latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, Latrim.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. So is Bradley Schneller from Stacked Coaching. What you say, Bradley?
Not much, man. Corey, I walked into my barber shop today, and my barber said, get this guy some carbs. Looks like he needs to eat some food. And I was like, guys, if you only knew how many carbs I actually ate, you'd be jealous.
Wow. Why were they saying that about you?
Because I look svelte. You know, I got like a body of someone who probably like appears to be fit, and they got dad bods.
Yeah, they got like they swallowed a basketball, that look.
Right.
Yep. When are the twins coming, Jimmy? When are you expecting?
Yeah, exactly, man. And like the problem is people have this whole mixed perception of, or I guess ignorant perception of what it actually takes in order to look fit, you know?
No, I mean, that's one thing about fitness. It's why I like sports, like the best play sports. The best are the NFL, the NBA. They're not like, yeah, we like Schneller. I know his mom. I'm going to put him on the team, and I'm not going to put Zion Williamson on the team. The best play. And in fitness, you can talk all you want, but you better walk the walk because people see what you look like, and there's no way to fake that. Maybe you've said it before, maybe like 1% of 1%, some genetic freak. That's about it, right?
Yeah. You know, it's like, could you imagine running a team and not playing Zach Bond?
Oh, wow. He's
Super Bowl humor here.
He's a special teamer.
We can't find a spot for him.
No, I know. It's mind-blowing. But then you still have Michael Thomas and C.J. Gardner. It doesn't matter. Gardner Johnson. It's, you know, he's not doing anything.
The whole list.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that. Holy smokes. All right, you ready to jump into it, Bradley?
Yeah, let's get it. Let's talk about some fitness and nutrition.
By the way, Bradley Schneller is the owner, operator, head coach, trainer. It's his shooting match. He's designed it. It's his place. He comes up with the workout every day for all the different groups, all the different time slots. It's stackedcoaching.com. Stackedcoaching.com. They're on River Road, right past Shrewsbury, past Ochsner. River Road at Arnold. Stackedcoaching.com. Bradley is a nutrition and fitness expert, a professional. It's what he does for a living. Hey, Bradley, basically technique versus weight. what's more important? What's the best thing to do? Have proper technique with a little bit of weight, or maybe a little off technique, but you're really putting a lot of weight out there. You're moving a lot of weight.
So I think this is an interesting question, and it's not as black and white as people would think, right? Because you need to have proper technique. You should lift with proper technique. And the reality is this: lifting with proper technique at a lighter weight is harder than lifting sloppy with a heavier weight, right? Now, there is a point at which you push yourself, where in order to take that next jump up in weight or performance or strength, there needs to be a little bit of nudge or breakdown of your technique, right? But I would say leave that for an advanced lifter, a more experienced lifter. And if you're in the beginning of your journey, really focus on technique. Now, I think a lot of people get gun shy, right? Like I hear all the time, I don't want to hurt myself, right? And I think that's a great attitude. The goal is to stay in the game, right? Like we don't want to be Brandon Ingram and, only play 154 games over 5 years with our superstar, right? Like we want to be in the gym all the time, so we're not getting traded to another gym. But I like to put a little sports metaphors and analogies in there, man. But the reality is this is like in the beginning, we want to concentrate on the technique, concentrate on that form, until a point where you're like, this really feels easy. I'm not really getting anything out of this. Okay, then we move up and we move up and we move up, either weight, reps, time, any of those situations. But there should be an emphasis in form, but you might get some degradation of your form as you move up in these next ranges each time. And then you work on performing that next weight range with perfect technique. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes 110% sense. Also, you mentioned don't want to get injured. That's like a tough kind of balance because I want to get a workout in. I don't want to jip myself or be in denial, but I want to be careful moving up in weight so I don't get injured. What did I tell you when I first joined the gym? Bradley, I get injured or you screw up my golf game, I'm burning this building to the ground.
So far, we're so good.
Yeah, no, we're good. I hit the ball farther now because of stacked coaching. Seriously.
That's awesome.
All clubs, they go about 2-3 yards farther. The driver's about 8 yards farther. It's a fact.
That's pretty good.
No, that's pretty good. It's significant. No, it's continuing to play golf and doing stacked at the same time. I think if I did stacked for a year and tried to pick up a golf club, I wouldn't know how to swing it maybe. But how do you avoid the injuries? How do you not, one of my questions was going to be how much weight, how much weight do you know to do?
I'm going to be super honest here, right? You can only do so much to avoid injury. People think there are a lot of forms, like people think I'll just go run because I'm afraid to get injured. Well, historically speaking, runners are the most injured athletes out there. Right? Like if we look at all the types of injuries that people are seeing, orthopedists, chiropractors, physical therapists, it's from running. It is the highest percentage of injuries. Okay. So we can only do so many things to avoid it. But the reality is you keep pushing yourself, you're going to have some aches and pains here and there. But we want to do the best thing to either mitigate the damage or recover from it. Right? And so that could be perfect technique. Make sure you're taking recovery days. Make sure you are getting enough sleep. Make sure you're hydrated. Make sure your nutrition is in a place to where you have enough energy to perform with great technique. Those types of things.
All right, Bradley, let's say if you're new to stacked and you have like a minor injury, like, tennis elbow, arthritis in the shoulder and knee, something like that. Do you have like a routine to work around these minor injuries?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different ways we could do. Like with tennis elbow or golfer's elbow, it has to do mostly with pulling or hanging, right? Like that's where it's going to flare up the elbow. And it could just be a different position you put your arms in when you pull. There's a lot of different exercises to do If you have golf or tennis elbow, you can look a lot up online. You can also see your physical therapist. I am not a physical therapist. However, I can tell you that all of those recovery tools, mechanisms, movements, therapy that you might call it, okay, also requires a little bit of rest. Yeah. Right? Like, we don't want to keep aggravating it. And it's not like it feels better, let me immediately jump into the other things. You know, and at the same time, again, this is all a delicate balance. We don't want to just not do anything.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, people get a little nicked up here or there. We'll say injured, slightly injured, whatever it might be. There's still a lot of things you could do in the gym, and people take it as a license to be lazy. And they shouldn't. Like, there are a ton of different things you can do. There are a ton of different modifications. And at the end of the day, we want to keep the habit up. And when you just stop, you are no longer keeping the habit up, and it's a lot harder to restart.
Bradley Schneller's with us, stackedcoaching.com. Bradley, I mentioned earlier, this is what you do. You're a professional at this. And I will say this. I don't know how many members you have. I'm not interested in knowing the number. It's a lot of members. These classes max out at about 18 people a class. I have been in classes. Bradley's come up to me. It'll be like, this exercise will be like, Corey, go and do this instead because of your shoulder. And I'm walking over to there going, geez, man, he remembered about my shoulder. And then 10 minutes later in their class, you're pulling a girl aside or a guy aside going, don't do this, use that because of your knee. Don't do this because of your back. Relax that. How's your hamstring? I'm like, my God, Bradley knows everyone individually in that place by name, and he knows their strengths and weaknesses. You're telling people put more weight on the bar. That's enough. I mean, it's pretty amazing, Bradley. You're locked in.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I mean, I think like some of that just, I don't think you can learn it. Some of that's innate. You know, you just have that ability. And I don't mean that from like a knowledge standpoint, just remembering.
Yep.
But it's also being in tune with your client. You know, I had a good coaching review with one of my coaches today, and we were reviewing how she coaches and the amount of effort she puts into her classes. And, you know, we were just talking about being totally in tune with the class. And if you walk around and speak to everyone, if your coach is calling you by name and walking around and talking to you, they're going to learn everything about you. And if you show up on a consistent basis in a gym like us, where it's group class based, that's the kind of result you're going to get. You're going to have someone that has a personal touch that's going to know the ins and outs of your abilities, your injuries, modifications, whatever you need, and then can alter the workout for you.
Bradley Schneller, stackedcoaching.com. Bradley, always a pleasure, brother. Have a great Super Bowl weekend. See you next Thursday.
Thanks, man. Take it easy.
That's Bradley Schneller, stackedcoaching.com. Go check out the website, stackedcoaching.com. No, highly recommended. It's the gym I go to, and I'm telling you, it's motivated me like no other gym before. Everybody on the same page. Just a great place. StackedCoaching.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Yeah, you right. Thursday, 3 days from Super Bowl 59 right here in the city. Things are just taking off right now like a rocket ship. Louis Armstrong packed, folks coming into the city, flying into the city, driving into the city. It's the Thursday before the Super Bowl. This 72-hour period is giganticus. Hundreds of millions of dollars will be spent in the city over the next 96 hours. Hey, every day this program on radio, on television, on YouTube, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. Click to subscribe to our fledgling YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow that social media. I readily admit I'm terrible at it, but I'm trying to get better. Every day it's brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex, home of Lamarck Ford for over 45 years, home of Lamarck Lincoln, the number one Lincoln dealership in the state. And you business owners, you need a commercial van, SUV, truck? Lamarck Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway can take care of you. Every day, this program, The Neutral Ground, with yours truly, brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex and Lamarck Crescent City Ford. Every Thursday around this time, we toss him a bone, pun intended. Jeff Dorson, Humane Society of Louisiana, joins us on the program. How are you, Jeff?
Hey, Corey, you're so right. There's some nice positive energy around the city that we don't always have. Feels like Mardi Gras on steroids. It's just a really fun feeling. People excited about the weekend.
Yep, it's going to be a big economic boost for a lot of folks. So, perfect time to donate $10, $20, $50 to the Humane Society of Louisiana because they care. They are trying desperately to get Louisiana in line where we treat animals humanely all the time. And Jeff, what's the latest and greatest going on? Real quick, you guys have a little shindig going on Saturday afternoon at your Gretna headquarters with a Mardi Gras king cake theme, huh?
That's it. Mardi Gras tasting. As if we don't have enough. Come on in. $10. Eat till you drop. Delicious king cake from amateur bakers who are vying for King of the King Cake contest. And you will get to decide by placing a little coin in their box, and we count them up, and whoever wins takes home a trophy. 3 to 6 this Saturday, 6:18 Durbany, and we're having a fun raffle at the same time. You can win a Wilson football, a beautiful curing case, pet toys, and another king cake. $5 a chance. Go to our Facebook page, Humane Society of Louisiana. These little things add up. So we'd be grateful if you could stop by, get your fill of king cake, or buy a couple raffle tickets online, because we really could use your help every single day from around the state. Somebody or some animal needs help, and we'd like to be able to say, yes, we have the resources to help. And you can help us say yes by chipping in just a few bucks here and there.
HumaneLA.org is the website, HumaneLA.org. Jeff, I always say, and I think folks think this way, cats and dogs, kittens and puppies. And then I'll throw in horses and goats and any animals. You guys are, it's about treating animals humanely in Louisiana. That even includes ducks. And the ducks at the LSU lakes, some idiots shot a few with bow and arrow. And some of them died, some of them you guys rehabbed, and some of them are alive today, and people are taking care of these ducks, and that costs money.
Yeah, I like this little old man. He sent me, he's just an elderly gentleman. He sent me pictures of the ducks he feeds every day. He noticed that some were shot with blow darts. I don't know who thought that was a nice idea. Terrible way to treat a lovely, docile domestic duck that will come up to you and be fed out of your hand. So he notified the authorities. We got involved, offered a reward, didn't find the suspect, but did get some ducks to LSU. They extracted the darts. Ducks some of them are okay. Let's be nice to our wildlife friends. They're not doing us any harm. They just want to live their little life as we want to live ours. So that's our message today and every Thursday. Just be nice and considerate to our animal friends.
Yeah.
Pretty simple message.
It is a simple message, and there's no agenda there. It's not incorrect. It's sensible and reasonable, and it's humane, and it's how we should be. We're the top of the chain. So these animals are our responsibility, pets and wildlife. So it's up to us. HumaneLA.org. What else is happening, Jeff?
Well, we just want to thank you, Corey. You take these few minutes every Thursday, and it makes a difference. We need to hear this more often, that being kind to every single animal is the right thing to do, because the opposite of that, just leads to the horrible consequences for the animals. We have a dog that was beaten by its owner and starved. I mean, what's the point of that?
No, we need to put that owner in jail. That's the point. Got to put that owner in jail.
We have him in our possession. His eye may have to be extracted because it's damaged. It's come on, we can do much better than that.
Yep.
But we always want to thank you for you being our voice all the time, every Thursday, reminding people this important message. So if you want to support that nice black lab pit mix, Emily, going to have an eye removed from all the beatings by his former owner.
Wow.
Donate right now, HumaneLA.org.
HumaneLA.org. HumaneLA.org. Go to the website right now and donate. You folks in for the Super Bowl. We'd love a donation. HumaneLA.org. Then from Kansas City, from Philly, we could use the help. Lots of animals need help in Metro New Orleans and Louisiana. HumaneLA.org. Jeff, always a pleasure, brother. You're the best.
Back at you, Corey. Thank you for your time and caring.
Yep. Keep doing what you're doing. That's Jeff Dorson, Humane Society of Louisiana. Go to their facility on the West Bank. Head to their facility on the West Bank. Raffle and King Cake Tasting Party in Gretna, 3 to 6 on Saturday. Oh, boy. Speaking of wonderful pets, animals, friendly, it's Mr. Blue Boy. He's very, very friendly, very smart, has many talents. What's that, Blue Boy? Tell folks to stick around. 5 o'clock powwow now.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. 5 o'clock powwow. Corey Johnson with you on a Thursday afternoon. 3 days out. Super Bowl 59. Number 9, Mr. Drew Brees is absolutely correct. This is New Orleans, the Super Bowl city. Hosting our 11th, tied with Miami for most ever. Superdome will be hosting its 8th. No stadium has hosted more Super Bowls. How appropriate. This August, the Superdome will be 50 years old. Thank you, Dave Dixon. Earlier this week, we had Frank Dixon on, Dave Dixon's son. If you had to narrow it down to a single person most responsible for New Orleans hosting Super Bowls, it would have to be the father of the Saints, NFL in New Orleans, the father of the Superdome, the late, great Dave Dixon. Got a good one lined up for you. 5 o'clock power hour. Gosson Corbin, the director of the Sewage and Water Board, is resigning. His last day will be coming up in a few months in May of this year. About 6 years on the job. He's going to join us in about 10 minutes on the program. Find out why he's calling it a day here in New Orleans and what his legacy is going to be. I'll tell you what his legacy is going to be. There's some short-sighted folks. I mean, I hear it in the suburbs all the time. Jefferson, Parish, St. Bernard, dysfunctional sewage and water board. You're right. The city flooding. You're right. But then when we have a torrential rainstorm like we did a few months ago and there was massive flooding in Jefferson, everyone in the metro knows we can't pump ourselves out in Metro New Orleans. We should have retention ponds all over the metro area holding this water, especially during some rain event. We can lower the water table in these retention ponds before that storm hits and you won't have flooding on streets and businesses and the like. So it's not always the Sewage and Water Board. Sometimes it's just Mother Nature and New Orleans, where we're located and the like. But a lot of the times it is the dysfunctional Sewage and Water Board, a system that's like north of 100 years old, old pumps, old electricity, broken and dysfunctional. I've got to give LaToya Cantrell credit. Very little credit. I mean, 1 out of 100, 1 out of 500. This is one of those. She made a nationwide search and came up with Gosson Corbin from Milwaukee, a guy who had a resume of about 25 plus years working with water in a municipality. He actually was qualified for the job. You look at his predecessor, Cedric Grant. This is just some anointed, appointed hack, a political hack. Mitch Landrieu anointed and appointed him as head of the Sewage and Water Board. He has no expertise in that role at all. None. You need someone who knows that industry, knows that business. This isn't just another, head of an entity within the city of New Orleans, and it doesn't matter who they are if they're qualified or not. It very much matters who they are. And that anointed, appointed hack, Cedric Grant, was a joke running the Sewage and Water Board. Nothing got done. Gosson Corbin comes in, recognizes all the problems, lists all the problems, and then starts coming up with solutions like this $200 million plus power plant on the Sewage and Water Board property with direct hurricane-proof electrical lines running from the power plant on the West Bank across the river down to the Sewage and Water Board, probably about 3 miles tops from where the power is being produced on the West Bank to the Sewage and Water Board facility. And like I said, hurricane-proof transmission lines and towers. So a hardened power plant coming online at the Sewage and Water Board. That's tremendous. That's big-time progress. These smart meters, tens of thousands have already been installed. Tens of thousands more will be installed. Two things. One, it gives an accurate reading for the consumer. Two, the Sewage and Water Board will actually bring in more money because of the smart meters. Lots of new 4-foot pipes laid throughout the city. It's still going on right now. Wrestling away the 72,000 catch basins away from the city, not cleaning them, the city's responsibility to the Sewage and Water Board doing it. No, a lot of progress. Folks that were like, man, Sewage and Water Board broken, dysfunctional, Gosson Corbin, he needs to go. You're not really following it. It's like Archie Manning, quarterback in the Saints. He's like one of the few good things at the Sewage and Water Board. And he's going to be missed when he leaves this May. If city entities all had like a Gosson Corbin running them, the city would be much more advanced. This guy's apolitical. He's very smart. He actually has a resume in this field. No, these rarities are refreshing. They're needed in New Orleans and Louisiana. Actual people that can get the job done. If they're local, great. If we got to scour the country for them, great. Sometimes I'd rather an outsider, so I don't have to worry about political connections and nonsense like Cedric Grant. Gosson Corbin's going to join us in 5 minutes, director of the Sewage and Water Board. Super Bowl 59, 3 days away. The city is taking off. Thousands and thousands coming into the city as we speak. Thousands and thousands more tomorrow. That's really inaccurate. Tens of thousands showing up today. Tens of thousands showing up tomorrow. Tens of thousands showing up on Saturday. 3 days away. It's just electric. I was down in the quarter last night at Jackson Square checking out the light show. It was all locals. It was like the last of the locals. Mom, dad, the kids all checking out the light show. And now locals know, wow, the next 72 hours, unless you're participating and want to go check stuff out down there, I might ride my bike down there Saturday and Sunday just to check out the scene during the day. But unless you're doing that, probably an area to avoid. You want a great place to eat this weekend? Trey Yen in Mandeville. What are you waiting for? This is the perfect weekend. Head to the North Shore. 25 minutes from Lakeside Mall, 25 minutes from Causeway and I-10 in Metairie to the parking lot at Trey Yen in Mandeville. There's no driving on the North Shore. You cross that Causeway Bridge, immediately on your left, Chinese cuisine, not Chinese food. Trey Yen for over 45 years, nationally acclaimed, nationally recognized, feeding presidents at the White House. No, it's special. It's Trey Yen in Mandeville. Head across the Causeway tonight, tomorrow night, Saturday, Sunday, Trey Yen in Mandeville. And they've got curbside delivery, too, for to-go orders. Pull right out in front. They walk it right out to your car. But I recommend dining there. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Trey Yen is one of the best seafood restaurants in Metro New Orleans. The Wong brothers embrace our seafood bounty. Just about every night, you're going to get fresh soft-shell crabs, fresh local flounder, fresh speckled trout, oysters, shrimp, crawfish. If it's in season, it's at Trey Yen in Mandeville. So damn good. I'll be there this weekend because, I'm going to avoid going to a restaurant in the French Quarter, CBD, Warehouse District, all that. Let the tourists, let the folks in from out of town enjoy our city. I don't need to add to that madness. No, I'm going to hit some suburban restaurants. I might head to Mandeville twice, a little Trey Yen one night and Gallagher's 527 across the street the next night. So good. So good. New Orleans Walk of Fame. Great idea, poorly executed. There was a ribbon cutting today for that. Children's Hospital on Henry Clay in Uptown for decades is now the Manning Family Children's Hospital. A huge donation from Archie Manning, Eli Manning, Cooper Manning, Peyton Manning, Olivia Manning. Great stuff. Tulane plans to build a covered practice facility for football on campus, that Claiborne lot, the old Rosen Hall site right there on Claiborne. Right now they're going through the process of talking to residents like on Audubon Boulevard, Calhoun. Hey, this is what we want to do. Any complaints, any thoughts, that kind of thing. Gosson Corbin, Director, Sewage and Water Board, joins us next on the program. Hey, the 5 o'clock powwow on this Thursday brought to you by Leidenheimer Baking Company. You folks in from out of town, you're going to experience New Orleans' own Leidenheimer French bread. Fine dining restaurant, the first thing you're going to sink your teeth into is Leidenheimer. Enjoying an authentic New Orleans po' boy, It'll be on Leidenheimer French bread. Since 1896, good to the last crumb, Leidenheimer French bread, Leidenheimer Baking Company. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxford, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City. Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Hey, you looking for a great place to check out the Super Bowl with like-minded fans, everybody on the same page, plus a great place to get some authentic New Orleans food? Check out Legendary Tracy's Magazine at Pleasant, between Washington and Louisiana in the Garden District. They've got a full kitchen featuring one of the best roast beef po' boys anywhere in New Orleans. Too many flat screen TVs to count, including a 10-foot monster. Super Bowl Sunday, Pelicans game, any sports action, or just looking to get a good lunch or dinner. Magazine at Pleasant, Legendary Tracy's. He is resigning as director of the Sewage and Water Board. His last day will be coming up this May. Ghassan Korban joins us, the director of the Sewage and Water Board. Ghassan, how are you this afternoon?
I'm good. How are you, Corey?
Doing well,
Thanks
man.
for having me.
First off, a pleasure to have you on the program again. Second, it wasn't like I was disappointed, but I was kind of bummed out. I was like, man, this guy is doing a great job at the Sewage and Water Board. It is a dysfunctional, broken New Orleans city entity. It's been dysfunctional and broken for decades. It's had people with no expertise in your field running it, political, appointed, anointed hacks a lot of the time. You come in, 25-plus year veteran of public works, working with water and municipalities up in Milwaukee. You come down here, you acknowledge how broken it is, acknowledge how dysfunctional it is, and you start kind of putting together a list of ways you can fix it. And I just want to say thank you for being here the last 6 years, doing some great work for the city of New Orleans and the citizens over there at the Sewage and Water Board. Thank you.
Well, it's been my pleasure. I've enjoyed every bit of it. I have a lot of fond memories in terms of, building a great team, setting the utility on a great visionary path. And I think it's a different utility that we had 6 years ago. And I hope that one of these days we no longer talk about dysfunction and such, that we continue to look forward and continue to do good things.
I want to talk about the progress that's made, but first, just coming from Milwaukee to New Orleans, and obviously you become acclimated to New Orleans and the politics and how things work. How shocking was it in the beginning for you? I talk about the dysfunction of the Sewage and Water Board. that's sort of a bleed over of the dysfunction of the city of New Orleans. How shocking was the political climate for you?
Well, I mean, there's no secret that when I came down, the utility really had been struggling. They had a low point with the August 5th of 2017 flood, and it was destabilized, and it was overwhelming at the very beginning because, people use the term peeling the onions, and I, felt like I was peeling a bag of onions initially. It was just everywhere you turn, you had an issue or a situation, and it took a while to wrap my head around it, my arms around it, and start prioritizing and taking a step back, triaging, and figuring what needs to be done first. And we set out obviously a vision and a list of priorities, and we've been working very hard since.
What would you say the biggest accomplishments that you've achieved in the last 5.5, 6 years or so running the Sewage and Water Board? Would it be the power plant, those big towers, the water towers that were built, the smart meters, getting control of the 72,000 catch basins? What would it be?
Well, I would say all of those are awesome accomplishments, and it took a team and a vision and obviously a lot of dedication and grit to get stuff done. And I would say my biggest accomplishment is the ability to attract talent and really develop a very strong team that is able to get stuff done. And part of why I decided and timed my departure is that I feel strongly that what I'm leaving behind is a very, very strong, dedicated team that is going to continue getting stuff done. And they're going to continue with the great momentum that we've created. And they're visionaries. The culture has changed where, we see a problem, we're going to find a solution, and we're going to fix it. And I feel like that's the culture I'm leaving behind. And by far, that's my biggest accomplishment.
Wow. Ghassan,
I'm very proud of the team that I'm leaving behind.
Ghassan Corbin is with us, Director, Sewage and Water Board. The power plant, what is that, north of $200 million?
Actually, it's north of $300 million. And
wow.
When we started, we had an estimate that's lower than that. But just like any other big, major, complicated project, there are a lot of unknowns. This is the first power complex that we built, to replace the antiquated equipment, and it's almost done. We're commissioning all the parts. We're creating the connections between all the parts on the complex, and we're hoping to deliver it before the peak season of this year. So very, very exciting. It's monumental in terms of the city's future. This is something we're building for the next 50 years, where the peace of mind that this brings in terms of having power that you need to drive all the pumps that you have during a rain event or what have you. So huge priority for us, and it's almost here.
You're resigning or retiring officially in May from the Sewage and Water Board. You're going to miss the ribbon cutting of that power plant by just a few months, right?
Well, yeah, and I didn't want to make that a determining factor in terms of when I leave. I mean, I may be invited back to celebrate with the ribbon cutting, and I would be happy to come back and participate. But it's not, it's not about me. It's about, again, the utility as a whole, the board, the team, the city who supported us with a lot of financing of the project. It took a lot of people who would be here to celebrate. So whether I'm here or not, I don't think it's that relevant. But I am extremely happy and proud of getting this project done.
Hey, Ghassan, tell us about smart meters, the benefit of those. How many have been installed and how many more need to be installed?
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough to compare or to rank which one is a game changer, power complex or smart meters. I think smart meters have been probably by far, for me, the biggest difference maker in terms of the utility, where it stands, the service it provides its customers, and just removing all the angst that we created and we caused on our customers for many years. So I feel that the smart meters is by far the most impactful project that we've done. And what it is automating all the meters where they send basically the consumption to a central location where we can process your bill automatically in a timely fashion and a very accurate fashion, which we haven't been able to do for many years because of the antiquated process that we have been relying on. So we're at about 85,000 in the ground. We are tracking to finish all of the residential meters by the end of the year, if not sooner, which means we will be producing smart bills for all of our residential and beyond by the end of the year. Very, very monumental accomplishment as well in terms of removing all the doubt about bills, all the fluctuation and all the headaches that came with it. So the other thing that we are very excited about, that the smart meter program is bringing a tool to each of our customers, the ability to monitor their consumption and empower them to gauge their consumption, adjust it, know if there's any sudden leaks or high consumption, and so they can deal with it in a timely fashion and obviously eliminate any unnecessary costs associated with leaking or what have you. So very, very impactful tool that's going to be very useful to all of our customers to, again, if they want to conserve water, they can use the tool to help them do that. They can monitor your consumption and just an empowerment tool that's was much needed, and again brings the confidence level that they need from us in terms of the accuracy and the timeliness of the consumption and ultimately the bill that we send them.
80-something thousand installed. How many more thousand are left to be installed?
We have about 130,000
total
in the residential, and we have about 12 that are commercial and other classifications. So the majority of those will be done as well. Before the end of the year, there will be a smaller subset of the large meters that will not be done, but predominantly, or the vast majority of the meters will be in the ground and operating and serving our customers.
Nice. We're visiting with Ghassan Corbin, Director of the Sewage and Water Board. More with Ghassan Corbin next. Don't move.
Maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com. Your cool spot.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Hey, New Orleans, if you've ever wanted to experience life on St. Charles Avenue, now is your chance. The Grand Victorian, the ultimate bed and breakfast in the Garden District on the streetcar line. Built in 1893, this magnificent house will make your special weekend getaway special. To find out more, go to gvbb.com. That's gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian, where the locals go to get away.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Hey, they're open till 9:30 tonight. I'm talking about Lebanon's Cafe. They open up every weekday morning, basically, 11 a.m., and they go till 9:30 every weekday night, 7 days a week. Some of the finest Middle Eastern food in Metro New Orleans. Lebanon's Cafe, Carrollton at Jeanette, by the streetcar barn. It is a Thursday afternoon, 5 o'clock power hour. Ghassan Corban is with us, the director of the Sewage and Water Board. So, Ghassan, the power plant, these smart meters, those are huge accomplishments. I mentioned the 2 water towers that were constructed under your watch. What are those all about? Keeping the water pressure up and not having to, or I should say, limiting boil advisories?
Absolutely. So those 2 towers, they each can hold almost 2 million gallons of water each. And the idea is that they actually stay in balance with the rest of the system. So they have a passive way of supplying pressure and water in case we lost power in the plant. So rather than the water going into the distribution system from the pumps that pump water from the clear well below, if that goes out for whatever reason, then those tanks, when the water in them, just passively push downward and supply the water as a substitute for the pumps and maintain that pressure and obviously keeping up with the demand. Those have avoided many boil water advisories They're not 100% foolproof by any means. There are situations where even with those, we may have situations that the pressure may go down or below the 20 PSI, which would require to call worldwide advisory, but those have become very rare. And obviously with continuous improvement in the system, those occasions will become even more rare than now. So it's a very, very impactful project that we're happy that we're able to execute.
Hey, Ghassan, I respect your privacy. You don't have to answer this question. I'm not trying to get into your personal business. Why are you retiring or resigning from the Sewage and Water Board come May? Because, like I said, when we started the program, you're going to be sorely missed.
Well, I appreciate that. And I mean, the main reason, every job, and it would be an understatement to say that this was not a stressful job. Every job like this has a shelf life, and I feel like I've served 6.5 years, and like the time has come to move on, knowing, again, very well that I have a team that I leave behind that is very equipped to continue the good work and even exceed expectations in terms of what's yet to come. There's so much work that's left to be accomplished, and I strongly feel that the culture that we've created is the perfect culture to keep the momentum going and just keep doing all the right things for the utility and the city.
What do you anticipate happening with the Sewage and Water Board after you're gone? What is your team that's in place going to do in the near future at the Sewage and Water Board?
Well, we're blessed with a good board of directors, very engaged and obviously very involved. So they're taking on a national search to find a replacement for me. And, about 3 months from now, hopefully they will have somebody that they would have selected that hopefully would bring obviously expertise and new energy to the utility, whether it's somebody, from within, somebody local, somebody from outside the city or the state, whichever the case may be. And the key is here to maintain the stability that we've created and, again, keep their eyes on the ball and keep things moving forward. There's, like I said, there are a lot of projects that are ongoing that need to be carefully executed and finished, but there are a lot of other projects that that need to be advanced and start, and like the lead service line replacement, for example. That's a huge undertaking that unfortunately I will not have the opportunity to kick off that project, but somebody coming after me will be able to take that initiative and move it forward. And on behalf of the city, that's a very, very key project that needs to be done and need to be executed well.
Ghassan, everybody knows about Turbine 4 in New Orleans, like a 1915 era turbine, if I'm not mistaken. What is it, 1908 or 1915? I think it was a part of what's that?
It's about 100 years old.
Yeah, over 100 years old. Yeah. Turbine 4, when the power plant comes on, will it be immediately decommissioned?
Absolutely. That would be a day of celebration. And we're going to celebrate all the good things that it did for the city for years. But the time has come, and it will be decommissioned, and it would be, become a piece of history for us, and no longer rely on that piece of equipment. And followed with, after that is the Turbine 5.
Yep.
That would be decommissioned as well. Eventually, but not right away, because it's always good to have a backup to the backup. The power complex is going to have a very modern and reliable components backing up the substation from Entergy.
Yep.
But so we have a very strong redundancy there. But should anything happens with those two systems, we'll have T5 as a backup, which is very highly unlikely, but there's no reason to decommission it too early. There's no downside for keeping it if we need it.
Turbine 4 from like 1915, steam powered. That's mind boggling. Turbine 5 is from the late 50s. It's a gas or diesel powered generator, right? Or a turbine, excuse me.
That is correct. The steam obviously would no longer be needed, so we're going to decommission all our boiler rooms. All our boilers will no longer be needed, so those will also go away. So a lot of history, a lot of reliable equipment at one point.
Turn that into a museum
to strive, but those all will become obsolete and no longer be needed.
You've got that cypress log that's hollowed out, showing an example of what pipes in New Orleans used to be like. Make that whole building a museum, Ghassan. I mean, I wouldn't move.
You're not wrong.
You know,
we could simply convert one of the buildings we have into a museum.
Yeah.
And I think it would be very well visited, but honestly, so somebody will have to curate that and make that happen. Maybe, time will allow that to happen eventually. So it's not a bad idea at all. So
now I like to describe things this way. Tell me if I'm wrong. I describe Turbine 4 as like 3 school buses stacked on each other. Turbine 5 is about the size of a single school bus. Turbine 6 is a modern jet engine from 2008. The Army Corps brought that in. It's about the size of a Suburban, of an SUV. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, fairly accurate. And you have to add the color gray to the description. They're not bright blue, yellow by any means. They're not shiny. They're very dull gray.
Yep.
Showing their ages for certain. Yes, but the scale you described is spot on.
Turbine 6 is essentially a jet engine. It's in operation when needed. Turbine 7, Turbine 7, you guys have that jet engine type turbine, but it's not installed or built in a building yet, right?
Well, it's on site. It's being connected to the frequency changers, so it will be ready again for hurricane season this year. So we have the substation, we have T7, we have T6, we have 3 frequency changers that would allow us to take all the power that's available and change it to the needed frequency, which is the 25 hertz, that run the pumps in the old part of the city. And, we have ample amount of that reliably and, again, in a sustainable way, because they're all efficient machines now that will consume a lot less energy. So we'll be saving significant amount of money, not having to buy gas to boil water and make power. So we're probably going to cut about 75% of the cost by using the new equipment.
Ghassan, any final thoughts till we visit again in the next few months?
Well, I hope we visit again before my departure. Again, I have 3 months with a lot of work to do. There's a lot of things that I need to highlight for policymakers in terms of what needs that the utility has. One is the stormwater fee. We must continue talking about it. We need to talk about rate increases to allow us to bond some money to continue investing in water main replacements and many other needs. So, much to talk about and much to do, and happy to come back and maybe do one final show.
That sounds great. Always a pleasure, Ghassan. I really mean that, and I look forward to visiting with you again before you head out of town.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
That's Ghassan Korban, Director, Sewage and Water Board.
For
Until
game-changing
May,
innovation, look
Corey
to the Latrim
Johnson will be
family of
coming right
companies
back.
located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters, and you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District. For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you on a Thursday afternoon. Wow. Less than 3 days. I mean, if you want to go by hours, the Super Bowl in 72 hours and 3 days, excuse me, will be somewhere into the first quarter. We'll be about 20 minutes into the game. So what are we looking at? 71 hours and about 38 minutes from now. Super Bowl 59 kicking off at the Dome. Less than 3 days away. 5:30-ish, a little after 5:30. Sunday afternoon, Louisiana Superdome. The Chiefs and the Eagles go at it. As we speak, tens of thousands of folks flocking into New Orleans. Literally, Louis Armstrong Airport, just hustling and bustling. Folks driving in to New Orleans from Kansas City, from even Philadelphia. Folks literally driving in, plus fans of the Chiefs and Philly that live in another city closer to New Orleans than KC or Philly. They're driving in. And then you've just got a lot of media, 7,000 credentialed media, 7,000 for this game. From the region, from the nation, from international spots. Hundreds of millions of dollars in free publicity for the city of New Orleans. And unlike other places, like sure, Dallas or Atlanta hosting a Super Bowl, they're getting a lot of publicity. But New Orleans is special. Like just about any other city outside of like New York, and I'm including like LA and like San Francisco almost. Chicago almost. But outside of New Orleans and New York especially, any other city almost, besides those three I mentioned, the producer of TV for the Super Bowl, they're trying to find things to go in and out of commercial breaks. Like if the Super Bowl's in Tampa or San Diego, when San Diego had an NFL team, it would be like the marina with a bunch of sailboats, the sun setting by the marina, and just kind of rinse and repeat that. Show the city skyline. That's Anywhere USA, showing the skyline of the city. Show shots of the stadium. That's Anywhere USA. In New Orleans, it's unlimited. They cut things that off the list that they can't use because they don't have enough time. They don't have enough commercial breaks that they would love to use in any other city in America, that they would dream of having. I mean, from, somebody blowing sugar off their beignet, to the riverboat, to street performers, to Jackson Square, to a horse and buggy, a carriage in the French Quarter, to music venues showing food, restaurants, Bananas Foster being made, things like that. Just, it is endless. A streetcar on St. Charles Avenue. Just go on and on and on. It's just a television producer's dream and a nightmare of the things they'd love to use that they have to cut that they would love to have when they're in other cities. So we're going to maximize that marketing and free advertising because New Orleans is such a tourist destination, this European masterpiece with so many sights and sounds and flavors. Just really tough to beat. It is the Super Bowl city. I've heard so many folks. Sean Payton was saying Super Bowl should be in New Orleans, part of the 5-year rotation. There is no 5-year rotation, but he's right. I've often said that exact thought. And have even, I break it down like year 1, New Orleans, year 2, California, year 3, Tampa or Miami, Florida. So year 1, New Orleans, year 2, a California site, year 3, Tampa or Florida. Year 4 and 5, that's where you have like the Atlanta, Phoenix, Dallas, Houstons of the world be able to get in that rotation. Those 4 cities can split up those 2 years. So they're guaranteed a Super Bowl like every decade, roughly. And then you have that wild card where a city like Nashville's building a new stadium. Chicago's going to build a new stadium. Both those cities are going to get Super Bowls for building this new stadium. Nashville might get on the regular rotation because it's a tourist city. It's got a booming economy. Hotels are going up all the time. They're making themselves a New Orleans-like event, host type city. So they might get on the permanent rotation with, you want to put them in with like the Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, Phoenix types. So that would be my 5-year rotation where New Orleans is guaranteed a game every 5 years. I mentioned this, it's ironic a little bit. The Eagles coming to town. Former Eagles owner, like 2 or 3 owners ago. It was I was about to say Lowry. It's not Jeffrey Lowry. It's Norman Brayman. I'm going back like 40 years. Old man Norman Brayman. He has no ties to New Orleans. He said the Super Bowl should be held in New Orleans every year. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen. But that type of sentiment, along with like what Sean Payton's saying, what a lot of folks are saying, it's the best place for a Super Bowl. It needs to get back into more of a rotation than this every 12-year thing that it's turned into. I mean, day one, we had a Super Bowl in 70, 72, 75, 78, 81, 86. I mean, think about that. 70, 72, 75, 78, 81, 86. It's just boom, 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 boom. Getting them every 3-4 years. And then it got stretched out a little more, and then other cities came into play. And then all of a sudden, you build a stadium. We'll have a Super Bowl in New York. Could have been 19 degrees and sleeting. We'll have a Super Bowl in Indianapolis, Detroit. Hopefully, it's like every 5, 6, 7 years in the future, not this 10, 12-year wait between Super Bowls. Less than 3 days or 3 days away, less than 72 hours until kickoff. That's Blue Boy barking. Tomorrow, be there, 4 o'clock, a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Fletcher Mackel, Michael Hecht, Frank Brightson. See you tomorrow. Down, Blue Boy, down.
On the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.